Alright, listen up. Your motorcycle's got more secrets than you think. You ever look at your bike and wonder, what the hell does that button do? Or, why is this feature even here? Well, it turns out a lot of riders don't know about some of the best tools built right into their bikes. Today, we're diving into the secret motorcycle features that nobody talks about, but every rider should know. These aren't gimmicks, they're legit tools that can make you safer, more comfortable, and a better rider. So let's get into it. Number 1, the kill switch. Not just for emergencies. Alright, let's start with one that's hiding in plain sight, the kill switch. Now, a lot of riders think this is just the big red button you use when you're about to wipe out, or if the engine starts acting up. But here's a little secret. That kill switch is one of the best tools to safely shut off your engine, especially if you're getting off the bike in a tight space. See, reaching for the ignition key when you're parked on an incline or jammed between cars can sometimes throw off your balance, especially if you're on a heavier bike. Using the kill switch lets you turn off the engine while keeping a solid grip on the handlebars, so you don't risk tipping over like an amateur. Plus, here's another thing. If you start practice using that kill switch to turn off the bike, it becomes second nature. And in an actual emergency, say your throttle gets stuck, you'll react without thinking. I've seen guys fumble for the key in a panic, wasting precious seconds. Trust me, when something goes wrong, those seconds matter. So yeah, the kill switch isn't just for drama moments, it's a real tool that can make you safer and smoother as a rider. Number 2, hidden trip meters, your secret weapon for maintenance. Here's one a lot of riders don't even realize they have, the hidden trip meter, or in some bikes, multiple trip meters. Yeah, that little button on your gauge cluster isn't just for seeing how far you've gone on a ride. You can use it to track maintenance intervals, monitor your fuel range, and plan long trips without a fancy GPS. Let me give you an example. Every time I fill up, I reset one trip meter. Now, even if my fuel gauge isn't perfectly accurate, and trust me, a lot of them aren't, I know how many miles I've done since the last fill up. So when I hit that usual range where I know my bike runs low, I'm already on the lookout for a gas station, instead of waiting to run on fumes like a rookie. And you can get creative with it. Reset one trip meter every time you change your oil, so when you're at 3,000 or 5,000 miles, or whatever your bike's interval is, you know it's time for fresh oil. Or use it to track how many miles your chain's done since the last lube job. It's such a simple tool, but most people forget to use it smartly, and then they're caught guessing when it really matters. Number 3, adjustable clutch and brake levers. Stop settling for factory settings. Here's a feature hiding right in front of you, adjustable clutch and brake levers. Most people don't even think to mess with them. They just hop on the bike and deal with whatever awkward reach the factory set it at. And let me tell you, riding with poorly adjusted levers is like wearing shoes that don't fit. Eventually, it's gonna hurt. A lot of modern bikes, even mid-range models, come with adjustable levers right from the factory. You'll see a little dial or wheel on them. What does it do? It lets you set how far the lever sits from the bar. So if you've got smaller hands, you can bring them closer. And if you've got bare paws, you can move them out. Now, why does that matter? Because if you have to reach to grab your brake or clutch, you react slower. And in a panic stop, that split second could be the difference between staying upright and kissing asphalt. Plus, if your clutch is set too far out, you'll get tired faster in traffic. And if you're tired, you make mistakes. So do yourself a favor, take a second to adjust your levers to fit you. It's one of the easiest ways to ride safer and more comfortably, and hardly anyone does it. Number 4, helmet visor lock. Why it's there and why you should use it. Here's a feature I see riders ignore all the time, the visor lock on your helmet. You know, that little tab or slider on the side of your face shield? Yeah, it's not just there for decoration. It's designed to lock that visor down tight when you need it most. Think about riding at high speed. Maybe you're on the highway, or passing a big semi that's kicking up a big storm of wind. If your visor isn't locked, a strong gust can rip it open, or worse, yank it loose. I've seen it happen, and let me tell you, trying to hold your visor down with one hand while keeping the bike steady is not a good time. Plus, if you go down, a locked visor can protect your face better by keeping debris and pavement out. It helps that shield stay sealed so it doesn't fly up and leave your face exposed. A lot of guys don't even realize they can lock it down. But next time you're gearing up for a fast ride or rough weather, flip that little lock into place. It's a small move that can save you a big headache or worse. Number 5. Hazard lights, your built-in help me signal. Most riders don't even think about their hazard lights until they are broken down on the side of the road. But those flashing lights are way more versatile than people realize. For starters, yeah, they're great when your bike dies and you need to let cars know you're sitting there like a duck. But here's another trick. If you're caught in an unexpected downpour or super low visibility like fog or snow, your hazards can make sure other drivers actually see you. I've used mine riding through a wicked rainstorm when cars couldn't see more than a few feet ahead, and it made all the difference. Also, if you need to alert riders behind you to a sudden danger, like a huge pothole, debris, or a car crash ahead, hitting those hazard lights is a universal way of saying, "Heads up." A quick flash of those can communicate way more than a hand signal, especially if you're on a group ride and spread out. So don't overlook that button. It's there for a reason, and knowing how and when to use your hazards can keep you safe, visible, and in control when things go sideways. Number 6. Built-in helmet sun visors. Use them. You ever been riding into a sunset and suddenly feel like you're flying blind? Yeah, that's why built-in sun visors are one of the most underrated features on modern helmets. A lot of riders don't realize they have them, or they think it's some gimmick until they use it once and wonder how they ever lived without it. Instead of fumbling with sunglasses that might not even fit right under your helmet, a built-in sun visor lets you flip that shield down in a second. No pulling over, no struggling, and when you hit a shaded area, flip it right back up and keep rolling. But here's the kicker. It's not just about comfort. If you can't see because the sun's blasting you in the eyes, you're in danger. I've seen guys nearly hit the curb or drift into another lane because they couldn't see through the glare. And sure, you can buy a tinted visor, but then what happens when the sun sets? Now you're riding blind at night. With an internal sun visor, you've got options. Clear view when you need it, shade when you don't. Honestly, if your helmet has one and you're not using it, you're missing out on one of the simplest, smartest features around. Number 7. Fuel reserve switch, the lifesaver you forgot you had. Now, here's a secret hiding on older bikes that a lot of new riders don't even know exists. The fuel reserve switch. You're riding along, minding your own business, when suddenly the bike sputters and dies. Most folks' first thoughts? I'm out of gas. I'm screwed. But if you've got a reserve tank, you've got a hidden lifeline waiting to be used. On carbureted bikes, you'll often find a little petcock valve with 3 positions: on, off, and RES, or reserve. When you run out of fuel in on mode, switching to res taps into the last bit of gas, just enough to get you to a station. I've seen riders push their bike for miles because they didn't know about the reserve. And if you think it's just for old bikes, plenty of dual sport and adventure bikes still use this setup. It's an old school feature that can save your butt in the middle of nowhere. So if your bike has a fuel petcock, learn how to use it. Trust me, you'd rather flip a switch and keep riding than call for help or start pushing a 500-pound machine uphill. Number 8. Gear position indicator. Not just a rookie tool. A lot of people think gear position indicators are only for beginners, like if you need to know what gear you're in, you're somehow less of a rider. Let me tell you something, that's complete nonsense. Even experienced riders can benefit from knowing exactly what gear they're in, especially when you're on a new bike, switching between rides, or in tricky riding conditions. Ever come out of a tight corner and realize you're in too high a gear to get good throttle response? Or accidentally try to take off in second and wonder why you're bogging down? That little indicator takes the guesswork out of shifting. No more hunting for neutral like a fool at a red light, and no more, am I in 5th or 6th, when you're cruising the highway. And if you're riding in city traffic, switching between stop and go and fast lanes, being able to glance down and see your gear lets you focus on what's happening around you instead of second-guessing your machine. So if your bike has it, use it. And if it doesn't, there are aftermarket ones that are totally worth it. Staying aware of your gear makes you smoother, faster, and safer. Number 9. Handlebar risers. Customize your ride without buying a new bike. Now here's a feature people forget they can add to completely change how their bike feels. Handlebar risers. Maybe you love your bike's engine and look, but your back and wrists are screaming after a long ride. Most people think they need to trade their bike in for something more comfortable, but you don't. You can adjust the bars. Handlebar risers let you bring the bars closer, higher, or adjust the angle so you're not hunched over like Quasimodo. And it's not just about comfort. Better ergonomics make you a better, more confident rider. If you're too stretched out, you won't have the control you need to maneuver or brake properly. I've had bikes that felt completely wrong until I added risers, and suddenly they went from never riding this again to let's do another 200 miles. Guess what? Risers cost way less than buying a whole new bike. So before you give up on a bike that's killing your back, look at your handlebar setup. Sometimes a small tweak makes a world of difference. Number 10. Hidden helmet tabs for communication systems. Stop taping things on. Here's one a lot of people miss. If you buy a decent helmet these days, there are often hidden tabs or cutouts specifically designed for adding a communication system. But what do I see out there? Riders with tape and zip ties holding on Bluetooth speakers like it's a science project gone wrong. Most modern helmets, especially touring and modular styles, have small slots under the padding where you can install speakers and microphones cleanly, with no mess and nothing hanging off the side like a GoPro on steroids. And if you ride in a group or commute in traffic, having a proper comm system makes life so much easier. No more pulling over to check your phone or yelling over your shoulder. And with the built-in spaces, you don't sacrifice looks or aerodynamics. So, next time you're tempted to strap on some bulky setup, check your helmet's manual first. You might already have the perfect spot waiting for you. No duct tape required. Number 11. Factory-installed heated grips. Stop freezing for no reason. You know what blows my mind? Riders who are shivering like a leaf in the wind, clutching their handlebars like they're holding icicles, and they don't even realize their bike has heated grips straight from the factory. I've seen guys with $20,000 bikes bundled up in 3 jackets, and they never even turn the heated grips on because, well, they don't know the switch is there. These days, a lot of touring bikes, adventure bikes, and even some sport tourers come with heated grips built right in. No wires to run, no clunky aftermarket kits, just push a button, and boom, warm hands. And it's not just a luxury thing, it's a safety feature. Because if you can't feel your hands, you can't properly work the throttle, brake, or clutch. Ever tried emergency braking when you've got numb fingers? Yeah, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And let me tell you, cold hands make you tense. Tense riders are sloppy riders. You're stiffer on the controls, slower to react, and just plain miserable. So if you're riding a bike that's even remotely designed for longer trips, take 5 seconds to check if you've got heated grips. Find the switch, try it out, and next time that chill hits, you'll be riding in comfort while everyone else is shaking like a leaf. Number 12. Heated emergency quick-release cheek pads. Your lifesaver in a crash. Alright, this is one of those features I pray you'll never need, but absolutely should know about. Emergency quick-release cheek pads. Modern helmets, especially quality brands, come with these little red tabs on the sides of the liner. And what are they for? So that first responders can pull those tabs out and safely remove your helmet without yanking your neck around. Now, most guys don't even know they're there. I've seen riders with $800 helmets who've never even noticed the tabs. But here's the deal. If you go down hard and need medical help, you don't want someone wrenching that helmet off the wrong way. Neck injuries are no joke, and if you're unconscious, you can't exactly tell them how to do it right. Knowing that your helmet has those quick-release tabs and making sure your riding buddies know too could literally save your life. It lets EMTs get to you safely and quickly without making things worse. So next time you check your gear, pop off that helmet, look for those tabs, and remember what they're for. Hopefully you'll never need them, but if you do, you'll be glad they're there. Number 13, cruise control, not just for highway cruisers. Here's something I see sport riders and naked bike owners overlook all the time: cruise control. They think it's only for gold wings and Harleys going cross-country. But a lot of modern bikes, sport tourers, adventure bikes, even some standards come with cruise control now. Why does this matter? Well, because long rides are brutal on your wrist. Holding steady throttle for hours, your hand cramps up and your attention starts to drift. Cruise control lets you relax for a minute, shake out your hand, and focus on riding. And it's not just for highways. If you're riding through endless stretches of straight road like desert highways or open countryside, cruise control keeps your speed consistent and helps avoid accidental speeding. Plus, some systems let you adjust the speed up and down with buttons, so you don't even have to touch the throttle. I know some guys think it's lazy or not real riding, but trust me, after a few hours on the bike, you'll be grateful for the brake. And when your hand isn't cramping, you're a safer, sharper rider. So if your bike's got it, use it. And if it doesn't, there are good aftermarket options that won't break the bank. Number 14, helmet pin lock inserts. No more fogged visors. Let me tell you, nothing makes you feel more helpless than trying to ride with a fogged up visor. You can't see, you're fumbling with the shield, trying to crack it open while keeping control of the bike, and hoping you don't miss that car pulling out in front of you. Here's the good news. If you've got a decent helmet, chances are it's pin lock ready. That means you can install a little insert that stops fog before it starts. And no, I'm not talking about those useless anti-fog sprays that work for 5 minutes. I'm talking about a permanent fix. The pin lock insert creates a double pane effect, like double glazed windows, which stops condensation from forming. You can sit at a light in winter, breathing like a dragon, and your vision stays clear. People don't even realize their helmet is ready for one. But if you've got 2 little pins on the side of your visor, congrats, you can add a pin lock. And let me tell you, it's a total game changer for cold or wet riding. Stop fighting with fog, get the insert, install it in 5 minutes, and ride clear no matter what. So there you have it, a bunch of secret features and overlooked tricks hiding right there on your motorcycle. Some of these could make your ride safer, more comfortable, and a hell of a lot smarter, if you actually use them. Look, bikes are built better than ever, and manufacturers have added tons of features to help us out. But it's on you to know what your machine can do. If you've been riding for years and didn't know half of these, hey, you're not alone. Even seasoned riders miss some of this stuff. But now that you know, no more excuses. I want to hear from you. What's a secret feature or hidden hack on your bike that you think more riders should know about? Drop a comment below and let's share the knowledge, because that's how we all get better, smarter, and safer out there. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe for more real-world riding advice, and as always, ride safe, ride smart, and keep the rubber side down.